Amy sent and told me she was not going to make it. All right, 30 seconds. And I haven't heard anything back from David, so I don't know if he's whirly. So.
All right. Ready to go?
Go ahead.
All right. Meeting called order at 5:32 p.m. And present, David and Danae. Yeah, crap. Oh my gosh. Trying to think of what was next. Approval of the minutes?
Yes.
There we go. Because I don't have it in front of me.
Oh, okay. Okay.
It's
All
on my
right. I'll
phone.
step in if you need me to. Go ahead.
There we go.
Approval of the minutes from, what was it, September? What was the date on that?
8th.
8th? Okay.
September 8th.
I make a motion, we approve as written.
Need a second? All in favor?
That would be Jeff nodding his head.
Yeah, I talked with somebody else, I think.
All in favor?
Aye.
And approved. And I assume we have no visitors. So
None
moving
have
on to
contacted us.
Old business.
Updates. If you haven't had a chance, Jeff said he has. If you haven't had a chance to see the sneak preview that Blair put on the Facebook, I would suggest doing so. I even shared it on my account, personal account. It's great. And Danae, you got the thumbs up, so I assume you've seen it too.
It looks amazing. Yes.
I was thrilled. I have not, since I've been in quarantine, I have not seen the actual completion of the doors. And everything was cleaned up this time, because the last time I was there, they were still doing some cleanup but they did a beautiful job. Oh, I'm just thrilled. We've got a little bit as far as IT stuff to get Blair in there, get her moved down. And then we're doing a once over of all the accounts to make sure, see where we are. A good thorough. We've still got 4 outstanding that I'm aware of. And once we get them in, we'll know exactly where we stand. I still think we're going to come in good shape, but we'll see where we can go. We still have a little playroom. Maybe we'll be able to do a few of the things that we pulled out, thinking we might not be able to do, such as the fencing to hide the HVAC and the garbage cans, some landscaping in the front, planters, and possibly a couple of picnic tables in the patio area on the north side, north entrance. So, did you see it, David?
I'm watching it now. Yeah.
I'm sorry I can't share it because I'd put it on for everybody to see on YouTube because I think it's fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
That looks amazing.
Yeah, it is phenomenal. So anyway, that's completed, or it's that close to being wrapping it up. I mean, it's usable as it is right now. What we've got to do there is more finishing touches that are not necessarily going to keep us from. It's already been rented once, and we've got another company coming in, and then we'll have the voting up there next week.
Mm-hmm.
And I think there's a blood drive going to be there as well. And then Miss Johnson will be doing her yoga through the winter in there. And so people understand we now have 2 rooms that are rentable, not just the one. We have 2. And the conference room is no longer that little small room that it once was. It's 50% to a third larger. Well, let me see. I'm gonna say it's about 50% larger than what it was. We doubled or extended it by by 50% in the width. So that room now will hold more people and is much more viable as a rental unit. It should be plenty for small birthday parties. And I'm saying up to 30 people. It should handle up to 29, 30 people right there. As far as birthday parties or small get-togethers, or even company, if somebody wants to have a training session or something like that for their, they can be utilized in that fashion.
How much is the cost of that?
Well, that's just it. We don't have anything but the old ones, and that's something we're going to talk about in new business.
Okay.
Because I want recommendations from you all so we can take these to the council for approval. And it's something that I think we need to really consider. And it probably may be something we can't really do anything with until after the first of the year, because I really would like to compare it so that we're not cutting the throat of the private individuals that are trying to make a living doing that as well. I mean, one of the things I've always expressed, and you guys can relate to that, and I don't think we're here to compete against private business. I think we're here to augment and to back up and support private business. And if we do something that's going to be contradictory to that, then it could not benefit, but actually do damage or harm to another business. And we don't want to do that to a business. And anyone who's invested and got a brick and mortar in Calvert City, we definitely don't want to do anything to hinder or hurt their business. We want to make sure that what we're doing is going to be compatible, I guess you'd say, and something that would be, I don't know. We don't want it to do harm. We want it to be something viable for the community, but we don't want it to do harm to those who are trying to make a living as well.
Yeah.
So that's something we need to talk about. We probably want to look at before we actually make some recommendations, is find out what the others are renting for, their sizes, and then kind of configure it, maybe something based on that or something close to that. I'm not saying that we need to go in here and go gangbusters and go outrageous. That's not what I'm saying. But I do want us to take a look at it and look at it on a realistic basis and not just an emotional basis.
Right.
Yeah.
I just think we need to keep in mind what we have it in mind for. If somebody wants a business conference room, I mean, obviously there's many choices. You've even got the library, it's free. You've got Kentucky Dam Village, and you've got the event center there too. So there's lots of options there. But so are we looking at it for like small birthday parties? We want to keep it affordable for that type thing?
Well, I think the small birthday party is the small rental room is going to be fine for that. And I think that that's going to be something that's going to be affordable for everybody. I think that's something we make especially for residents of the city. Those are the people that live here. They pay our taxes. They're in our neighborhood. They've come here. They live here. And I don't have a problem. And I think it's a good idea to give them a discount. But I don't think that we need to rent the main hall, because now we can actually have two functions going on at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
I agree with that.
Now you don't have to have, just one person can rent this building, this day. That's not necessarily true, because now we have a main hall, a big main hall that can be rented. We also have a smaller room that can be rented as well. And they both, because of the separation that we've got, they both can have their activities at the same time. So I think that, a small birthday does not need to be held in the main hall, but at the same time, the small conference room or the small business meeting room will be plenty size for a lot of the small birthday parties.
Agreed.
If you're having a big get together, that's where the main hall is. And that, that's going to be more money. But I think the other one since it's been enlarged, actually makes it realistic for a small gathering, a small get together.
Mhm.
And in most cases, I mean, it would have been easily the size of rooms I've rented for my kids when they were growing up for their birthday parties and had their gatherings with their friends. Actually, it's bigger than some of them that I've actually been in. So
Do we want to go ahead and talk about price or just hold that for new business?
I'll go over the stuff in new business of what the pricing is right now. But I think that we need to let me do some footwork and get some information so I can bring it back to you so that we can talk about that. And then maybe look at possibly with that in mind, look at some pricing recommendations. If you give me just a second. Let me go back. Let me just finish up. The biped, I've changed the name of it a million times. I know the multi-use trail, bicycle pedestrian trail. Right now, it's been sent to the feds for their approval of funding for the purchase of right-of-way for the moving of the utilities that have to be moved. So that's the only right-of-way we have to purchase is for stormwater extensions and also some ground that we can move some of the water and sewer lines. I think more so water lines. And so that's where we stand on that. We're waiting for the funding release and approval from the federal. It's at that point. So that's where we stand on the multi-use trail. The TAP fund is moving slowly, but it's moving. So we're just kind of waiting on that. You can't do anything until they give you the authorization to do it. If you do, then you're just out there in la la land by yourself. We're looking at the tables that are going down in the pavilion, the new pavilion at Old Park. They've been ordered. I'm not sure exactly when they'll be in. We just got in a memorial table that's going to be placed in Memorial Park. It's a 2-person. They'll be placed on the trail close to the entrance of if I'm not mistaken. I'm using my memory, so don't hold me to this, but I'm almost certain it's going in that location, that last location. I think, Danae, you and Jeff were there when we were looking at it, but that location nearest the entrance to the pump house. Okay. Between the two northern bridges.
Mhm.
That's where that one's going, and that will wrap up. That wraps up anything on that trail, that section right there.
Okay.
Trying to think. I think we've got one bench left. No, I don't know if we've got a bench left on that opposite side or not. I think we got that one. We may have a bench. I think we pretty much wrapped those up. We've got anything else that we do is going to have to be on those locations where we looked at on the coming out of the pavilion, the amphitheater, along that sidewalk that comes out of the amphitheater back toward the parking lot.
Mhm.
Maybe setting 2 or 3 of them benches in there.
Oh, yeah.
And then whenever we get the other trail paved on the over on east side of the creek, goes through the pergola.
Mhm.
We get that, we'll have the ability to put in a few more benches in that area there. So and basically that's just pretty much wrapping up the season. We're just about done with soccer. Of course, baseball's over. Most of right now, we're wrapping it up as far as that goes. Questions about any particular item?
No, I mean, been a busy year. Been a good year.
Okay.
The grant money for the continuation of the walking trail, where are we with that?
That's what I was talking about earlier on that multi-use trail. Yeah, that's it. That was it.
Okay, got it.
All right. Under new business, we have a, Mr. Latta approached me, I guess it was just before I went into quarantine, and brought up suggesting that they're actually getting a lot of use out of the tennis courts for pickleball. And we're curious as to whether we could actually look at restriping the existing ones, which would be cheaper. And there was he sent me a two court and a 4-court layout for the existing ones. And the 4-court would actually be in the same layout in the same area as one tennis court. Apparently you can get 4 pickleball courts in the same area as one tennis court. But I thought that was quite busy as far as laying it out that way. That being said, there's always a thought that we might consider seeing if we can get another Land and Water Conservation Fund grant to extend the existing court that we've got by adding one more court, but running it on the south side and lengthwise across the width of the existing court. So now you've got 3 courts, and that last court could be dedicated to pickleball. And we might want to consider taking one of the tennis courts and just leaving it dedicated to tennis alone. And then the other one would be a combination court. But we could actually put 4 courts on that one court, the new court.
I like it.
You like that idea?
Yeah.
There are lots of people that use that. That's for sure.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, that would give us one tennis court, one court that's nothing but pickleball, and then one that's a shared court.
Mm-hmm.
So
That helped.
That's a good
I
idea.
played tennis out there when they had the different lines, and you get used to playing tennis only, and then you get to having to adjust your eyesight for different lines,
yeah.
the match and things, and it would be good. But I understand they want theirs too. That's good. Everybody gets their own, and then a shared one. That'd be perfect, I think.
Yeah. I think that if we can do that, and I'll look at that, because I know that it's growing in this area.
Yeah.
Considerably. So it's my thought that after looking at it, that, we could actually take the one court and make a double court out of it and have the tennis and the 2 pickleball courts. But I would like to have one, if we can get the grant funding, I'd like to have one that's dedicated for tennis and one that's dedicated for pickleball, and then one that's a shared.
Oh, yeah.
So,
Is there any
and-
possibility we could get our hands on the courts at Kentucky Dam Village since it's in the city limits? You got 5 courts there.
Yeah, that's good too.
yeah, I think I would just as soon build a new one as to
Yeah.
try to tackle that problem,
Yeah, they're way
because
down
I'll
the
have to rebuild those anyway. I don't think they're in enough, they're good enough shape. Nobody else around here is taking care of their courts.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody else is taking care of their courts. And so this is, we've actually redone ours. And that's why I think we expand this one.
right.
Now, if Kentucky Dam Village wants us to, and wants to, but I got an issue with us going ahead and putting state or city funds to repair state property. But that's not my call. That's not my call. I really like, I would like to see us on our property build that, because here's the thing: if we get a Land and Water Conservation Fund, we sign something that says we will keep it there in perpetuity. I don't think we can do that on state property. There's no way that we can guarantee that we can maintain something in perpetuity on somebody else's property, and they won't give us the grant for it. That's the other thing. The state might get the grant for it, but we couldn't.
Right.
So, and we own this property. It's not leased to us. It's actually owned. So we can get this grant, possibly. I mean, we've done it before. It's been a few years since we actually applied for one. And part of that is because we have to keep it in perpetuity. So we really make sure that what we're doing is something that we want to keep.
Right.
And I feel like this is something that will probably last.
Mhm.
Would it be cheaper to put it at Old Park?
No, it wouldn't.
I didn't-
Because of the flooding, it wouldn't. I think
Okay.
where we're at, we can build that up. We've built it up. We just add on to that area right there. It's not in the floodplain. Whereas down at Old Park, the whole park is in the floodplain. So we have to build it up considerable. And that means we have to take dirt from it or get special permits to bring the dirt in. So we're better off doing it there. Old Park is it's a unique animal. And the fact that the whole thing is a flood zone, and it's not uncommon to go down there after a spring rain event and see nothing but lake. And so everything you've got down there, except for even with the new pavilion, it was built to withstand that because it's solid. I don't see us having issues with that in the future, but at the same time, it'll have to be cleaned off after spring floods. So that's the biggest issue that we run into, I think, David. I mean, it's just an ongoing issue that when you build in a floodplain, you're asking for trouble, period.
Right.
You're asking for, it's going to be a lot of work and it's going to be a lot of stuff that you have to do more expensively to put something in there. And that's why I say instead of putting in big structures, put in individual structures, small individual structures that we can actually go in there and clean easily. And we're not got all these crevices and nicks and crannies and stuff like that with some of all these other big structures that we run into.
If we put another court there, will we have that parking?
You'll take parking away from it. Because where we have the parking is where the court used to be. Oh, no, I'm sorry. You're talking about it where the existing court is. No, we won't have to. I don't think that we'll have to do that. I think what we'll do is we just go off that south end, build it up enough for the court, just like we have with the slope that we have, and build it up there. And then, I mean, we could move it forward some more if we needed to, but we've got room to do that.
Okay.
I mean, it'd just be moving the sign and then bringing the court south some. But we've got room for that if we need to expand it.
And that's a good location. The trees and the leaves and all that mess when you're playing, because that's it stains the court, and it'll I think it's a good location where if you just add on what you got, I think, versus moving a stadium.
Okay. And then, but I'll look into the Land and Water Conservation Fund and see and I'll talk to see if there's any support for that, for the budget. We're looking at a 50% grant, so that would be probably a 50 to 60,000, depending on match. So you're figuring 60,000 for the grant and 60,000 or 55, whatever, but somewhere in that realm. I mean, we asked for 60 the last time and they wound up giving us, I think it was 50. So, I'm sorry. It probably won't be that much actually, because it'll be one court instead of two. So it would probably be more like anywhere from 30 to 40, I'm guessing.
And you want to designate that as pickleball only court?
I think so, yes. I think that
way
would
you
be,
get more courts in it?
I think so, yeah. And then we don't have to restripe or restructure that. We can leave the tennis courts as they are and move those. That's going to be east-west facing, Jeff.
Yeah.
Is that going to create problems?
I wouldn't think so. I mean, I would think you'd be fine. I think unless you're always going to have to deal with the conditions when you're playing pickleball or tennis. I don't know that. I guess if you've got some trees there to keep the sun from being right in your eyes, I think. And
Okay.
just if it is, you put your sunglasses or your hat down a little further. I mean, I don't know that you just have to adapt, I think. I mean,
Okay.
we look at it closer though. I think this probably shouldn't be a big deal though.
Okay. All right.
That's where you're at right now, right?
Yeah. Right now it's just thought and planning stage. I thought it was a good idea. And with it growing, that's probably not a bad investment for the community. Especially with an aging or an older community who's more likely to play pickleball than tennis.
Yep.
But this doesn't actually hurt either one. This actually will benefit both, I think, by going this route.
Well, if you come off the south end and you're going to put 2 courts in there instead of 1, wouldn't it wouldn't be facing east and west then?
No, we're going
If you go 2 courts in there.
I'm turning it across the width of it. I'm looking at going, and where right now the 2 courts run north and south. This one will run east and west at the south end, because that's a square right now. It's 120 by 120.
So you're going to add a half square. Okay.
I would add 1 court of 60 by 120. Yeah.
Okay. And it'll go. Okay. I see what you're saying. But I thought you were going to put 2 courts in there.
Oh, no. Just one additional, one new one. We'll do one, and that one would be, that's why I back down on the numbers. It'd be more like 30 to 40,000 versus 50 to 60.
I thought you were basically saying that you could put 2 pickleball courts and 1 tennis court.
4. You put 4 in 1 tennis court.
So if you came 120 feet off that end, and then you cut that in half and you had 2 60 by 60s, you could turn it any way you wanted.
I see what you're saying. Yeah, I guess I could turn them that way. Yeah. Just take them and turn them all. Yeah. Okay. You can do that. Yeah. I see what you're saying.
Yeah. That way
makes sense.
No issues.
I'm sorry. Yeah. You're right on top
They're
of
both
it.
going
Yeah.
to be 60 by 60.
Yep. You sure are. You're right on top of it. That'll work too.
Okay.
I believe it would. I'd look at the layout, but I think you're right. So yeah, you go half width and full width and half length, and yeah, you can come up with 4 or do it that and run them the same direction. You're right. Okay. And that keeps them out of the sun. That's a great idea, David. Thank you.
Cool.
That's what all these brilliant minds are for.
Not sure about that, but
let me tell you what we run with you, the items. This is our layout right now, and you can't see it. I'm sorry. I don't have the ability to share, but I'll read it off to you. Currently, as we stand, I'm trying to get this thing where I can see you guys and also read this. Where we stand, any general activity on, and this is basically for profit, is the way they list this on the sheet. In the Civic Center, in the main hall, is $250. Performance activities on the amphitheater stage are $250 on for profit. Nonprofit activities at the main hall are $125 or half price. If you're a resident and you wanted to rent at this point in time, the main hall, it's a $75 rental. If you're a non-resident, it's a $150 rental. Use of the kitchen at that time, or the catering room as we call it now, was $50. And if you use the small room, it's $25. There's no way I'm going to recommend that fee for that, what we've got. Other than I would say that we might consider just adding the catering room, just adding that into the activity package. Let's see. Other charges that you guys want to think about as well. If you have somebody that wants to utilize the lighting at the ball fields, right now it's supposed to be $20 per day. Now that does not, we don't utilize that for league play, okay? For baseball, Little League, for CCBSA, we do not charge anything. But if somebody wanted to come in and do a league practice or do something that's outside that, and they want the lights, it's supposed to be $20 a day. And that was from 2010, ladies and gentlemen. That's how old that is.
I don't think I even knew that.
Well, a lot of people did not. We haven't really had a lot of that activities, since, I don't know, for years. We haven't done much of that. Tournaments, other than league championships like CCBSA or the Marshall County Soccer Association's championships, are $20 a team. So if somebody else comes in here besides those two and wants to do a tournament or something like that, it's $20 a team. Okay. And if somebody wants to come in and hold a professional training camp for soccer, baseball, whatever, it's $5 for participant.
Oh.
Now, noted, most of these are not, they don't have a sports league agreement with us. And what they do have is they're going to be utilizing the facilities on a for-profit or in most cases, for-profit type setup. Or they're going to be using it to make, to make money or something of that nature. So, but those are the things, the way it's being charged now. My thought is we really need to consider all of the same things that we're going to consider for the main hall. We need to consider for the small hall, only on a different price level. On the amphitheater, maybe we just leave it at that. It's a performance theater, performance stage, and I really don't want to see it become a picnic stage. Old pavilion, we need to look at and consider the cost there for the use of the fireplace. Right now, what we're setting up on that, if someone were to use it at the current and they want the fireplace, we're going to charge them based on the cost of our people setting it up and based on the cost of the gas. They're going to get charged for one tank of LP gas. They'll get one full tank of LP gas. If they use it all or not, they're going to get charged for it. And the other thought is whatever it takes for us to go set it up. That's all we would charge them for it. Now, if they want to just go down there as it is without using the fireplace, hey, no harm, no foul. We don't charge for that. But if they want the fireplace, yes. I am going to work with Bob and you all to try to figure out some sort of stuff to create an enclosure that is retractable, removable, whatever, so that it can be utilized in the wintertime and then for an activity, and then we take it down after the activity, or either store it on site up above the floodplain on site if we can. But it's just something we're going to have to work on and come up with the idea. We've got several options, but I want to make sure that whatever we do is going to be something that looks good, is durable, and easy to function, easy to maintain. So we'll work on that one.
I pulled up Kentucky Dam Village, and their conference room price is $76, and then it's $89 on Fridays. Just
Well, that's the same. That would be very close to the size of our small conference room. Okay. That's not their big hall. That's their,
but they've
that's
also
that,
got,
that's that classroom down there in the lodge, isn't it?
well, they've also got, they've got two at the lodge, and they've also got one right next to the 18th green at Kentucky Dam Village.
Well, that's a different price too.
Yeah, it's got a fireplace, and it's pretty good size.
Yeah. Also, we want to consider if somebody wants to use the concession stand outside, and I don't know, right now wants to use a concession stand. Right now, the only person that uses a concession stand is CCBSA. And we don't charge them because they do the sports league for the city. But if somebody else wanted to utilize it, or if we decide that we want to do something there we haven't actually addressed that. That's something we may also have to address. I'll have to look at that and see. But if somebody else wanted to use a concession stand, how would they be charged? Would it be a flat rate, or would it be a percentage of the sales, or how would we want to do that? So,
I think a flat rate, I think that's the simplest terms versus
probably so.
the honor system of, what sales are.
I don't know about honor system. It'd be whether or not whatever paperwork they show to document that, but
Right.
they would have to show documentation of their sales or whatever. But honestly, the easiest is right. You're right. The fee. But I can't say that somebody else couldn't use the civic or the concession stand, when CCBSA is not in league act or league play. And if they do, we need to come up with some kind of a rate for that, because there needs to be some sort of rate. We can't just let them come in there and do it for free. I wouldn't think.
Yeah.
I mean, if we're going to do that, we might as well just bid out the concession stands for the year to an individual or
Well,
another.
Also, they're going to have all their stuff in there too.
No,
If
they
it's
don't.
not season.
No, they don't.
So
Nope.
they carry
They're not allowed to store it inside there. They have to store it somewhere else. They're not allowed to store inside.
Okay, cool. Didn't realize that.
We don't, no, they're not supposed to store inside. That's using public property inappropriately there. So anyway,
Has it ever came up
what's that?
For somebody outside of the CCBSA wanting to use a concession? I know we probably used to when we used to have the big soccer tournaments, but
Soccer is not usually a big one. It's not something that's often, but I don't want to wait till it does and then try to rush through and do something at that point. And so that's one of the reasons I want to get something set out and approved, because I don't want to wait until Joe Blow comes up here and says, we want to do concessions in here. And now I've got to rush around and try to pull everybody together for special calls and stuff like that to get an amount approved. I want to get it approved now, or when we'll get all the rest of it approved. That way, if something does come up, I've got an answer and I don't have to pull everybody together at the last minute. And
Well,
it's go ahead, David.
we could go with you just want to go with the resident and non-resident rate of 75 and 125? Just what we were charging for the main hall. Just use it the same for the concession. I mean, we're not really doing it because we really want to. It's just so if it ever comes up.
Well, I don't know. We could do that, but I don't know that it's necessary. I don't think you need a resident, non-resident. I think it's just flat rate.
So $75.
Yeah, if that. I mean, you tell me. I wasn't even thinking. I was thinking more like 50.
You don't go with the kitchen rate?
Well, I was thinking. Well, let me put it like this. You're talking to fields are $20 a day. No, $20 a team. The lighting is $20 a day per field. And you want to set up a rate that's per day or per event.
Right.
If you're doing it per event, you might want to consider doing just a flat rate of $150. Or if you're going to do it by day, just say $50 a day. So if it's going to be a week-long event, it might be cheaper to rent it for $150 rather than $250 on a day-by-day basis.
I'm good with that.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
But again, we don't have to make that decision tonight. That's something I want us to work on, and I can bring the other back and take a look and see what other people do as well. So, but that was a thought that I had, is that
Well, we could always amend it later.
True. Well, true. That's true. But what I'm looking at is let's look at something. Let's look at it. Let's try to be comprehensive as much as we can. Think about what you run into at ball games and stuff like that, and stuff with tournaments, and see what we've got going. I know that our fields are becoming more and more desirable. And that's what I'm glad to see, because that means they're getting used. And that's the one thing that we've been working on ever since I've been here is how do we get people to use these and use them all the time? Old Park sure has changed from when I first got here to what it is now.
Yeah.
It's used for something totally different today, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Hey, John,
Yes, sir.
what about putting up some signs that'll say, hey, you can rent this shelter for $50 or have the price list or something? Because I think some people, you may not even know what they're, somebody shows up and says, hey, you know what? Rent this thing for such and such. It may give people ideas and also shows some fairness. And everybody says, well, I know it's going to cost this amount or something. So when we decide, maybe put something in the different spots at the ball fields or wherever, so that everybody's aware of what the cost is. And
We have those.
They're there.
We have those boards at the parks, and we can put that information there, as well as on Facebook. I mean, we've got social media now that we're actually utilizing, and we can put it on social media where they can access it, and on the website as well.
Just a phone number or something, just somebody. Yeah.
That's what I was going to say. We get questions all the time on the park's Facebook page about who do I contact about reserving this or reserving that? How much does it cost for this? So that would be good.
That'd be good. Okay. I think that'd be good.
Well, we don't, again, if somebody wants to just use it. That's an open pavilion. It's what they want, something, the special amenities that can be utilized in that one, that it would cost them. And I think that's where what we go by is based on, what is the cost of those amenities.
You can even put that out there too, so there's no doubt that somebody doesn't just, hey, we pulled up, we're going to eat here or something. That'd be good to have that out too, so.
Well, people do that already. I mean, right now people just pull up.
Yeah.
I mean, I've done it, and it's not uncommon to go in there and find people at 2 or 3 different tables that don't know each other sitting in there eating.
Mm-hmm.
It's really a nice environment.
Right.
So
it's accessible to everybody know what's going on, and then maybe get used more.
No. But let's see. I'll send you right now what we have. I'll email those out tomorrow to you for what our actual cost for rental of all these fees are. There's 2 forms, and I'll send them to you. And then I'll do some research. But think about it like this. We now have a small hall and a main hall at the Civic Center. We have the amphitheater stage, the Old Park Pavilion, we have ball fields, and we have a concession stand. And then think about the types of uses and how you want to look at those uses, because one of the things I've found is that, we may want to word, after you see this, you may find that we want to word this a little different. They go into a lot of stuff about for-profits and non-profits. And I can see a discount for some of that, but I also know that you want to be careful how you deal with that. As far as deposits, I guess the other question is at one point in time, you all were considering, or the board at the time was considering, allowing alcohol usage in the Civic Center. I don't know if that's.
I actually think we approved it once or twice.
Well, we were going to recommend it, but you don't have the approval authority for that. That belongs to the council.
Right. But on our end.
Yes, on your end, you were good to go with it. Yeah. Exactly. We held off because of I think a couple other things that we were working on at the time. Today, maybe able to elaborate on that, but we held off on making that presentation because of some other high dollar items that were being worked on at the time. Mm-hmm. And we didn't want to push our luck on the other items. And at the time, I don't know that they would have gone because, and I'm still not sure yet that it will, if that's what you indeed want to do. But that's something you want to consider. If you do, then the way I feel like to handle it after talking with legal is that you charge you change not the cost to the individual for the rental, but you change the deposit and change the deposit for everybody. That way it's not discriminatory. I want to make sure that whatever we do is not going to be discriminatory. So whatever the deposit is, you pay it, you get it back if you do what you're supposed to do. And most people are going to do that. Only if you don't, or you do damage, would you be liable for loss of some of that or all of that deposit. And since you have to have insurance to rent the building, what is not covered by your deposit would be covered by your insurance. So that's how it runs with that, and that's why they have to have the insurance. And I'm more likely to go from the deposit than to mess with their insurance if we can. That way, it keeps them from paying a higher insurance rate in the future if we don't have to make a claim against it, especially if they've got a deposit. But most instances, I found that they don't increase the rate for the rental of the facility does not change. What they do is they just charge a deposit. So, and I'm not a proponent for or against it this time. I'm just giving you some information because I know at one point in time those are things that had been discussed, and I want to make sure that we get a chance to look at all these fees and their sort and the way it's set out in a comprehensive plan, overall plan. The other thing, one last thing I have in new business is we're putting fiber optic internet at the Civic Center. Now, this fiber optic internet will take care of the internet within the Civic Center, but it's also going to take on the role of our public Wi-Fi that goes out to the parks now. Instead of it piggybacking off the City Hall's Wi-Fi or internet, this will be on its own system. So that actually takes the broadband usage away from City Hall's internet and puts it on its own internet. So we'll be able to utilize that service for Wi-Fi in the parks and for the Civic Center internet as well. So, sir?
What kind of distance are we talking about?
I don't have a clue, honestly. Right now, you're getting whatever distance you get is coming from City Hall. And I think that goes down, I know it goes down to Memorial Park. I don't know that it reaches Old Park. In all likelihood, it could just mounting it and broadcasting from the pole there behind Civic Center. It could probably reach at least the tennis courts. I don't know how if it could reach Old Park. I can't say that for sure. But it will give a better signal to what it does. We can actually reach further at that point coming from there than we can from City Hall. So, we'll get a more centralized broadcast center from there than we would from City Hall. Okay.
As far as the alcohol, I think that's something we should probably table until we get a bigger group.
Oh, absolutely. I'm not asking for you to give me a decision on that now. No, I'm just bringing that up as part of our comprehensive cost package or fee structure. So. You back with us, David?
I'm here. My
Okay.
phone's going dead, so I'm going to get a cord.
I got you. All right. All right. All right. I would like for us to start looking at budget items if you all can or will after the first of the year. I don't want to wait till April to put it together. I'd like for us to start working on it if we can in January and keep moving forward with that. I would like to, I'd like to be ahead of the game.
Proactive.
Yeah, much more so than in the past. I mean, we're pretty good about being proactive, but I'd like for us to be ready, by April. I'd like for us to be ready by April. I know the budget won't be, but at least the individual boards can be.
Yeah, I'm good with that.
Okay. All right.
I think
I don't know
first
how-
January,
Sir?
that first January meeting is a really good time. Everybody's kind of reset from the holidays. Good time to really start focusing on next year.
Okay. I'm trying to think what that is. First is on what? Friday? If I'm not mistaken, first is on a Friday.
So it'd be the 4th.
So it would be most likely the 4th, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we don't have to worry about that being a holiday.
Right. As long as
That
we
being
know what-
said, is there any reason to have a meeting next month?
Not really.
I don't think so.
Okay. All right. I mean, I don't, unless something comes up, if something comes up, I'll be glad to call you guys and we'll do the regular, or if we need to pull a special call of some sort. But, if you get the option or the time, drop by City Hall, give us a holler. I'll take you down there and walk you through, the Civic Center. Let you go oohing and ahhing.
That looks good.
I mean, we've seen it during the construction, but to see it in completion, that's something totally different.
It looks nice. Just from the vertical tour.
Yeah,
Once you get all the,
I can't tell you how just walking in those double doors from the hallway into the main hall just goes like, wow.
All the windows help a lot too.
Oh, yes, absolutely beautiful. Absolutely beautiful.
Yeah, I like putting it on Facebook like you did too. That's why people can see what they're paying for too. I like that.
Yeah.
That's Blair. God bless her. She does a great job.
Right.
Mhm.
Yeah. When it gets because I mean, otherwise you would say we're gonna have an open house for this place. Well, you can't do it now, but you can do it on Facebook instead, and everybody could say, "Well, that is what we've got." So I know what
Yeah.
we've got. Maybe pay for.
Yeah.
And
But
for
what are-
once, there were no negative comments. I was very impressed with that. Usually you get some negative, but there were none.
That's a wonderful thing. That is a wonderful thing.
Yes.
That's
So,
sure. Any other new business?
that's all I have, sir, unless you all have any questions.
Can we get a motion to adjourn?
Well, I just have one last thing to say.
Okay.
Hope you all have a great Thanksgiving and a wonderful Christmas. I'll see you all before then, I know, but still, just in case. David would be,
All right.
I come less likely seeing Jeff and David than I would Danae, but if I don't get a chance to see you guys,
Yeah.
have a good holidays, man.
better
Merry
too.
Christmas.
too.
Happy
Thank
New Year,
you.
everybody.
Yeah. Thanks.
All right.
Everybody stay safe.
Yeah.
I make a motion, we adjourn.
I second.
All in favor?
Say
Aye.
6:25. Thank you.
6:25 PM.
Right.
Thank you.
Bye, guys.
Bye bye.
Bye-bye.
Thanks.